Hi, greetings, fellow horror fans. We're going to look at the Nightmare on Elm Street series now continues on with Wes Craven's New Nightmare. Heather Langenkamp lives in Los Angeles, California, with her husband Chase and their young son Dylan. She is recognized for her role as Nancy Thompson from the Nightmare on Elm Street film series, but for focusing her career on television. One night, she has a nightmare that her family is attacked by a set of animated Freddy Krueger claws from an upcoming nightmare film, where two workers are brutally killed on set. Waking up to an earthquake, she spies the cut on Chase's finger exactly like the one he had received in her dream, but she quickly dismisses the notion that it was caused by the claws. Heather receives a call from an obsessed fan who quotes Freddy Krueger's nursery rhyme in an eerie, Freddy-like voice. This coincides with the meeting she has with New Line Cinema, where she has pitched the idea to reprise her role as Nancy in a new Nightmare film, which, unbeknownst to her, Chase has been working on. She returns home and sees Dylan watching her original film, and Dylan has a severely traumatizing episode where he screams at her. The frequent calls to Dylan's strange behavior cause her to call Chase, and he agrees to rush home from his workplace of Palm Springs, as the two men from the opening dream did not report in for work. Chase falls asleep while driving and is slashed by Freddy's claw and dies. His death seems to affect Dylan even further, which concerns Heather's longtime friend and former co-star John Saxon. He suggests she seek medical attention for Dylan and herself after she has a nightmare at Chase's funeral in which Freddy tries to take Dylan away. Dylan's health continues to deteriorate, becoming increasingly paranoid about going to sleep and fearing Freddy Krueger, even though Heather has never shown Dylan her films. She visits Nightmare creator Wes Craven, who admits having precognitive nightmares that the films captured an ancient supernatural entity which has now been freed after the film series has ended with the release of Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare. In the guise of Freddy, the entity now focuses its primary foe on Heather, as killing her will allow it into the real world. Robert Englund, who portrayed Freddy in the films, also has a strange knowledge of it, describing the new Freddy to Heather, then disappeared from all contact shortly thereafter. Following another earthquake, Heather takes a traumatized Dylan to the hospital, where Dr. Hefner, suspecting abuse, suggests he remain under observation. Heather returns home for Dylan's stuffed dinosaur while his babysitter Julie tries unsuccessfully to keep the nurses from sedating the sleep-deprived boy. After Dylan falls asleep from the sedative, Freddy brutally kills Julie in Dylan's dream. Capable of sleepwalking, Dylan leaves the hospital of his own accord while Heather chases him home across the interstate as Freddy Thompson dangles him before traffic. Upon returning home, Heather realizes that reality is starting to overlap with Freddy's make-believe realm, with Saxon as Nancy's father Don Thompson and her street, the exterior of her house, and her clothes have both transformed into Nancy's. When Heather embraces Nancy's role, Freddy emerges completely into reality and abducts Dylan to his world. Heather finds the trail of Dylan's sleeping pills and follows him to a hellish construct of Freddy's boiler room. Freddy fights off Heather and chases Dylan into a furnace. Dylan escapes the furnace, doubles back to Heather, and together they push Freddy into the furnace and light it, destroying both the monster and its reality. Dylan and Heather emerge from under his blankets, and Heather finds a copy of the recent events in the screenplay at the foot of the bed. Inside is written thanks from Wes for defeating Freddy and playing Nancy one last time. Your victory helps imprison the entity of the film franchise's fictitious world once more. Dylan asks if it is a story, and Heather agrees before opening the script and reading from its pages. So now let's take a look at the production of this movie. Written under the working title on Nightmare on Elm Street 7, The Ascension, Wes Craven set out to make a deliberately more cerebral film than recent entries to the franchise, which he regarded as being cartoonish and not faithful to his original themes. The basic premise originated when Craven first signed on to co-write Dream Warriors, but New Line Cinema rejected it then. In New Nightmare, Krueger was portrayed close to what Craven had imagined, darker and less comical. To reinforce this, the character's makeup and outfit were enhanced, with one of the most prominent differences being that he now wears a long blue/black trench coat. In addition, the signature glove was redesigned for a more organic look, with the fingers resembling bones and having muscle textures in between. While Robert Englund embraces the character, Freddy Krueger is credited as himself in the end credits. While earthquake scenes were already written into the film from the beginning, production of the film happened to take place concurrently with the 1994 Northridge earthquake in Los Angeles. As such, the production team decided to incorporate real footage of the earthquake's structural damage into the film. Craven had intended to ask Johnny Depp, whose feature film debut was in the first film, to make an appearance as himself, but was too timid to ask him. Upon running into each other after the film's release, Deb said he would have been happy to do it. Craven kept most of the wardrobe from the first film as souvenirs before New Line Cinema threw them all away and reused some of it for New Nightmare. Notably, during the talk show stage scene, England donned his original Freddy costume except the original glove, which had been missing after the filming of the first film, and thus England was wearing a replica of it from one of the previous sequel films. Both New Line executive Sarah Risher and director Craven said that the shoot was relatively easy and free from complications. Reflecting on the filming in Never Sleep Again some 16 years after the movie was released, Risher commented, quote, "All the other directors had to be guided through, but Wes by then was the master." The film's self-referential style will be explored further in the following year's Scream, also directed by Craven. Excuse me. The film was made for the celebration of the 10th anniversary of the original film's release. Both New Nightmare and the 1995 comedy film Tommy Boy were dedicated to the production designer of A Nightmare on Elm Street, Greg Francesca, who died shortly before the release of New Nightmare. Aww. So overall, I really genuinely enjoyed this movie, and it's definitely one of my personal favorites in the franchise, along with the original and Dream Warriors. So, yeah. So overall, I give Wes Craven's New Nightmare 4 claw gloves out of 5. But anyway, tune in tomorrow as we take a look at the long-awaited Freddy vs. Jason. Oh yeah. So, until then, remember everyone, 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.